Rax float here, and Boxer is going to go.
Hello fellow Zerg, Protoss, and Terrans. Today I'm bringing you a game By.Hero in the top left, the brown Zerg, versus Shuttle, top right, as the red Protoss player. And these two players are both professional broodwar players, and this game was played in 2013. And both are well known. By.Hero beat Boxer in one of the first televised matches that Boxer lost, and Shuttle has won against many of the other pro gamers, and his PvP is excellent. He's beaten Stork and a couple other Protoss players in PvP. Interesting, he's doing a kind of fast expand build without the scout, so he's going to go for an early scout here nonetheless. And we see our Zerg player By.Hero buying himself some time before he gets probably a early hatchery. Nope, instead opting for that spawning pool at 9 supply. So he could potentially get some quick Zerglings out. Now neither player seems to have gotten too much information. I'm not really sure why Shuttle's probe went down, if he even got full scouting information. I think he just scouted the natural. Okay, now he realizes and he's going back because he sees probably the movement of the Overlord. Possibly also just to play with By.Hero's idea about where his base is. Okay, so he's gotten his forge built here, and that's probably a solid wall. Interesting placement on the pylon. I assume he's going to get a gateway here next after he gets his Nexus up. Okay, going for a cannon because he saw that early spawning pool. So that was he was saving up some minerals for his Nexus and then went for the cannon first, because 2 Nexuses is not going to help you against what looks to be 4 Zerglings now and 2 more to follow shortly. And they're off. The chase is on. We got the Handsy Zerg right behind the red probe there. Okay, it's a little jittery, I apologize. If you hit F6, you go back to the standard view. Okay, so now he's splitting up his Zerglings, and that's because he still hasn't scouted our Protoss player's base. He has gone for a quick early third though, only at 14 supply, so he's kind of spread his reach across the map. Okay, and our Protoss player has gotten his gateway up and a second cannon, and just continuing to. Well, that's his first pylon at his main base, so he can start building stuff at his main. Probe still surviving, pretty impressive at this level of play. You really see a lot of probes living longer, or scouts living longer than they probably should, just because the movement speeds are the same. So the Zergling might be able to get like 1 hit in every now and then, but by the time it gets another, the shields have recharged, so that scout can technically survive forever. And that's actually turning out to be a pretty good thing here, because he may see this 3rd hatchery, which is actually really important to find that 3rd hatchery as soon as you can and just know how many bases, and he does. So he is aware of the 3rd hatchery and the location, which is going to probably play an important role later. But right now he's got basically no units. He's just, this is what you see in a lot of these pro games, they just opt for a economy build, and he's got 25 supply of only probes, and we see our Zerg players got on 23 supply, and he's got a couple Zerglings mixed in, but most of that supply is drones. Just macroing up here. I guess I could insert a fun fact, but we do have a potential conflict coming. He's going to probably test the wall here, but sees that it is Zergling tight. Maybe not watertight, but Zerg tight. So we're getting that Stargate and teching up to possibly legs for the Zealots and upgrading +1 on the attack, which is actually really important for the Protoss player because they do 16 damage and Zergs have 35 health. So if you get +1, you can 2-hit Zerglings, but without it, it takes 3, which, as you can see, makes a pretty big difference. Just gives the Zerglings a little bit more tankiness, which you do not want as a Protoss player. Okay, he's getting, our Zerg player's getting a Hydralisk Den up at his natural and upgrading legs, which kind of means he's thinking about going for some Hydra play here. Otherwise, he would not have gone for the leg upgrade. He would have gone straight for a layer. So we're going to probably see some Hydra play coming up, and he might go for some kind of bust. We'll see. So he's kind of... Protoss is kind of buying himself a little bit of space, possibly looking to poke at the 3rd hatchery, but these Zerglings are going to be able to run circles around him. Not sure if they do have the legs upgraded. It looks like they do, otherwise they wouldn't be running although I'm not sure. I don't think they actually do have the legs upgrade. I might be mistaken. They're just, Zerglings are just fast like that. So just getting his 3rd Nexus up. Oh, sorry, his 3rd gateway. And that's not a lot of gateways. So our Hydra are going to be able to range these buildings, and the gateway here, not that important because he does have 2 more. It would be nice if he could get some more gateways up at his main, but this right here, you really don't want this to happen. That's not supposed to come down right when +1's about to finish, because like I was saying before, +1 is an important upgrade. So he almost tried to come in, and I think that was a little bit of a mistake on his part. I guess he could have done some better cannon placement, and anyway, so he's finally getting his gateways up. So I think he was kind of falling behind on his macro a little bit when he was poking out with those Zergs, and that was a bit of a mistake because it cost him his +1 upgrade. And I don't... Okay, so he has rebuilt his forward already. He's researching Psystorm, which is going to be critical for taking on this Hydra force. However, the Zerg player has opted not to continue the push because there's cannons, and now we see Shuttle moving out again with his speed lots, and I don't know if this is a good idea because he's pretty much outnumbered, and he's probably gonna get sandwiched here. So okay, he's found an exit path, and you can see even with the Hydralisk legs, the speed lots are quite a bit faster. I think the only thing that might be faster is Zerglings, and he really doesn't have any Zerglings, but he has done some blocking here. Really great army control there, coming in for kind of a blocking flank. We do see Shuttle getting up a 3rd base, and I don't think the Protoss has seen that, or the Zerg has seen that. Oh, some huge storms coming down. Well, not quite, but he did pick off a 3 Hydras, and By.Hero smart enough to know to pull back when you see that many High Templar and some cannons. Really not worth pushing, because your Hydras will melt. And the floor will be reddened with the blood of Hydralisks. Okay, interesting, he's put a layer at his 3rd. I'm not sure why. Maybe he likes the wall in here better, so he thinks it'll be less likely to be killed. But usually you'll see that at the main, so that's an interesting choice. Just maybe doesn't want it to get scouted. If he does a tech switch to mutas later, he'll probably end up hiding a spire. But we do see kind of a commitment to this ground force with the Evo chamber. and we don't see a spire anywhere. Now both players are kind of testing the waters, but neither really committing too much. I really kind of question his use of this Zealot force here. He hasn't really accomplished a whole lot, except for maybe knowing where the Hydras are, but I guess he might know better than me. I might just put 1 or 2 Zealots in different locations, but I guess he's just kind of poking, getting an idea what the forces are for the Zerg player. But the Zerg player is on 116 supply, and so is the Protoss. And as a Protoss player, each unit takes up more supply. Hydra's only 1 supply, and Zealots are 2, even though they're pretty much the same price and about the same value. So to be matched in supply, oh, and he's picking off both High Templar. Really hard to keep your High Templar with your army when you're moving out. So that was a really good play by By.Hero. He probably scouted, saw, okay, I'm gonna come from the back instead of engaging this army directly, and nearly gets another High Templar, which is, if you can keep the High Templar count down, that's always a good trade to go for. They're just really expensive, and they're slow and weak compared to other Protoss units. They have about half the HP. Oh, and kind of a missed micro here, but he does get his storm off. He's got another one, and he gets it off. That was huge. If he had not gotten that storm off with 12 HP, 6 kills as a hero High Templar, I would just go ahead and warp that into an Archon, but he's got a lot of energy on these, but there's one without enough energy. Another storm on the Lurker. These Zerglings are not doing a whole lot, but he is kind of trying to set up some kind of contain, but with only 1 Lurker, Shuttle should be able to push out if he wanted to. Still, we're not sure. I don't think that By.Hero has seen this 6 o'clock expansion. Excuse me, the 3 o'clock expansion. So he's just engaging this army head on, and he doesn't know. But this is a pretty big engage right now. Some really nice storms, some good Lurker placement though, and great Hydra micro. Warping in a whole bunch, morphing in a whole bunch. You can tell which race I play. Morphing in a whole bunch of Lurkers here. So he's still going for this contain. I don't think he ever scouted this though, because you can see only 1 kill, so that means he probably sent a Zergling up here, and it got killed, and he didn't scout the building. So on his map, this is just all black, and he just assumes that nothing's been built there. But okay, here we go, another engage. That Hydra concave was pretty terrible, and he got kind of wrecked. Some decent storms coming down, kind of zoning. Okay, now there's a big storm. See, once you get a storm on a Lurker, it's got about 1 Dragoon hit left. There we go, some more storms. But here comes the Zerglings, but there's a Archon in the back, ranging right from behind of those Dragoons. Kind of a quiet spot there, and they're coming back in. This back and forth is just incredible. They are not giving up. Lots of Zerglings coming in. Some Zealots in the right position there, which is good. Now, I don't really like how he had part of his force coming down. He should have engaged right here. But that was probably just a little bit of miss micro, but he pulled back at the right time. Still, this pressure from Zerg is really good. But he is starting to crumble here. This force of Dragoons and Templars pretty strong. Big storm going off. That would have been another good spot for a storm. Just getting a Lurker, an Overlord kill. You can see the Zerg is going on 5 bases, and he's just got Overlord, Scourge for the detectors, the observers. And I missed. There was probably a slight storm drop. It doesn't look like it was too major though, which I missed because these guys coming in with 3 kills. Alright, here we come. The Archon's in the front. One goes down, but he is shredding the contain up. And here we go. Okay, now the reinforcements, they kind of were not being pushed forward there. Just staying back to defend. It's really hard as both players have to control, you know, 2, 3, 4, 5 control groups worth of units, and sometimes if they're not hotkeyed, you will miss out on some of the engages with some of your units. It's just hard to control, and you can see as a Zerg player there is just so much movement on the map with your units, but the Protoss player is staying a little bit more concentrated, and that's probably going to help him in this engage here. But the Zerg player is probably going to go for some kind of, he's got some units missing there, and it's just all over the place. But these guys are starting to do something. They're turning back to their third. I guess they're going to defend the third base, but it looks like Shuttle is going in for the natural of the original expansion, and he's got a huge army, and it looks like the supply count is definitely in his favor. Archon's in front, but here we go, some lurkers coming in from back. It does not look like it's going to be enough though, and these guys, oh, some storms. Yeah, it's just too much for By.Hero. He did have a hero's fight this game, but it looks like he's not going to GG just yet. He is on, does have plenty more mining bases, but supply-wise, he is pretty much out of the picture. But what a game this was. I think it really came down to allowing the Protoss player to keep his third, never pressuring it. That was a pretty big mistake, and an easy one to make just because, you know, he had a couple cannons and some zealots, and he just never knew it was there, I don't think. But ramps are OP, and that's GG. What a game. Well, thank you guys for watching. I hope you enjoyed the match here, and there will be more to come.